Hey, check it out. I got my first Core i5 MP55 computer. Stick around. We're going to see what all the hype's about. All right, so here it is. Check it out. This is the Systemax Core i5 Gamer PC. This is the first computer that I haven't built that I got my hands on that has a Core i5 system in it. Basically, P55 chipset, Linfield processor, and 4 gigs of RAM, all the good stuff, nice video card. So let's take a look at it. Now, first of all, you might recognize this case. I don't know if you've seen this before, but this is the NZXT Apollo, which is a pretty popular case. You know, pretty affordable, but good build quality. It looks pretty nice. It's got a door that opens up in the front. You got you know, a bunch of space here. You actually have space for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 5¼ inch bays, and you have another 3.5 down here, which is they put a card reader in there, so that's really nice. You're going to be able to look at your SD cards, your MS Pros, your CF cards. All that good stuff is readable on here. They gave you an LG Super Multi DVD drive up here at the top. You also notice that this case does have a nice big blue fan on the side, so a big 120mm to provide more air. Now, in total, this case actually has the ability to hold 3 fans, but Systemax put 2 in it. They put 1 in the back and they put 1 in the door, and that's actually a pretty good configuration. It works out very, very well. Very nice. Now I'm going to go ahead and unplug this real quick. Pull the door off. So there's your clear-sided door. You want to definitely show off these internals because they're pretty nice. Now, take a look at the inside. What you're going to notice here is quite a few things. First of all, you are going to see that it is a MSI motherboard. That is the new P55 chipset, so there is no North bridge. The South bridge doesn't really exist either. It's down here. This is actually what P55 is. It's called a PCH, or a Platform Controller Hub. It's down to 2 chips now. The P55 chip and the CPU, and that's it on this motherboard. So very, very simple, great setup, very fast. It brings, if you don't know, P55 and Core i5 and Core i7, the new ones for the 1156 socket, what that does is it brings the performance of Nehalem, the microarchitecture that's used in the X58 boards and in those Core i7 chips. It brings it down to the 1156 socket and it makes it mainstream. That means that anyone can afford it. It's not super expensive, it's not super high-end, but it's giving you that same type of high-end performance. I'll show you in a little bit. In SuperPi 1M, which is a benchmark in case you don't know, basically very, very nice scores, comparable to those of an X58 system, but this is a much more affordable system. Now, back to the internals. You are going to notice instead of triple channel memory, the Core i5s use dual channel memory, but you still have 4 gigabytes of DDR3 memory right here, 1333. You can upgrade that definitely to 8 if you wanted to, and you can actually go to 16 in the future if you wanted to use a 4 gigabyte DIMM, but I don't really recommend it to anybody. It's really expensive. There's also plenty of storage. A Western Digital 640 gigabyte hard drive comes with the unit. You also got your Core i5 processor right here. This is the 750, which is a 2.66 gigahertz processor, but it's important to know that these processors have turbo boost. So although it might run at 2.66 regularly, if you're doing a single-threaded application and it needs to go faster, it will actually self-overclock itself to about 2.8, 2.9 gigahertz easily just for that. So single-threaded apps, one of the cores will overclock itself. Or when you're doing all 4 cores at the same time, pretty much you have 4 cores to do all the work for you, so you don't need to go too much faster than that. Also, down here, graphics, as far as graphics are concerned, you do get a 9800 GT graphics card. Now, regularly, a 9800 GT is clocked at 600 megahertz for the core, and 1500 for the shaders, and 900 for the memory. Not this one. Taking a look at this board right here, this is actually a factory overclocked 9800 GT. You're getting 660 megahertz core clock, 1650 megahertz on the shaders, and 950 megahertz on the memory that's on this card. So you are getting a nice little overclock, and you could possibly overclock a little bit further. Now, talking about overclocking, really interesting feature on this this board right here. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to tilt this thing over a little bit, but right in here, these 2 plus and minus buttons, those are actually overclocking buttons. Those are going to increase and decrease your base clock. So every time you pump one of those up, you're increasing the base clock of your motherboard, and you're overclocking literally just by pushing buttons. This is a great way to establish your first initial base clock. You just push the button so you get a BSOD, and you back it off a few megahertz, and that's your base overclock. After that, you need to go to the BIOS to increase your voltages, and then keep going, but it makes things very, very simple. Also, you'll notice that down here on this motherboard, you do have a power button, so that's great when you build the computer. Before you put it in the case, it's also good if you're benching the system or for whatever reason you install new hardware, you can always turn the computer on through there rather than using the case. Another thing you'll notice is right next to it is the OC Genie. That's part of MSI's self-overclocking utility software. Pretty much overclocks itself and lets you overclock from inside the operating system rather than having to overclock from the BIOS. Now, other good features on here, let me turn this thing around for you. Actually, I want to show you guys. The ridiculous amount of USBs that this thing has. I've never seen anything like it. Looking at this back panel connector, you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 USB 2.0 ports. You have PS2s, you have 10-100 1000 Ethernet, and you have 7.1 channel HD audio with a very, very nice controller on it. The controller it's on here will actually do the true Blu-ray audio. It can decode that. You'll also note that you have 2 DVI, dual-link DVIs out here. Also included in the package, you'll be getting this little VGA adapter as well. And in case you want to know, this big black power supply sticking up here, that is a 500-watt power supply. So plenty of juice to power all the good stuff that you have on here. Also, really cool thing to note on this thing is that it actually got a perfect Vista score. You got a 5.9 Vista score, and you know, normally it's not a huge deal on a high-end system, but this is an affordable, mainstream P55 setup, and it's maxing out Vista score, so that's very, very impressive. Also, as far as expansion goes, just so you guys know, you do have 3 PCI slots in here, as well as 2 PCI Express X1 2.0s are also present in there. And just to kind of show you a very, very basic demonstration of the type of power that you're getting off of a P55 system. Again, it's the type of system that brings the performance of Nehalem, of the microarchitecture, of all the new stuff, but it's making it more affordable, and it gives you the same type of performance. I'm going to show you guys real quick. I'm going to run a benchmark called SuperPi, and most Core i7 systems do it in about 12 or 13 seconds, depending on how fast they're clocked. And I'm actually going to throw it on here just to show you that there's barely any difference. Now, your older systems used to do this type of calculation in sometimes just under 20 seconds, which is not really that impressive. But you'll see here where you can spend probably another additional $1,000 and only get 1 second less or 1 second more. Check this out. I'm going to run SuperPi, 1M, hit OK, and boom, it's going to take off. It's going to take about 14 seconds, I believe, to run this loop. Basically, it's trying to find, it's just reading out pi as far as it possibly can, and it's giving you loops and loops and loops. And 1M means it's going to produce 1 megabytes worth of pi, which is a lot of numbers, by the way. There you go, 15-second pi, so very, very quick. And just to give you a demonstration of how fast this little overclocking thing works, I'm actually going to push this button over here a few times, just randomly, haphazardly pushing it. Actually, if you want to see, I will turn on CPU-Z, and you will see that my base clock frequency has increased, and so in turn has my frequency for the CPU. Very, very fast system. Gives you pretty much all the benefits of the Nehalem architecture. It gives you the ability to have a really, really nice general computing, awesome for doing Photoshop, video editing, gaming. It's really up to you. It's a great, great system, and it's very, very affordable. I highly recommend it. And in case you don't know, all Systemax computers are built in the USA, and on top of that, they are not like these other brands that use their own proprietary parts that if they break, you just can't repair them, and if your warranty ends, you're done with. Everything in this computer, whether you believe it or not, is literally just a regular PC part that you could buy and replace in there. So in the future, if you have any issues with the computer, it's really easy to repair. It's not going to be a nightmare. You don't have to order really expensive parts. So really, really good stuff. I love the stuff from Systemax. If you have any questions, as always, you can email me here, and I'll see you guys next time. For more information on the Systemax Core i5 Gamer PC, type in SYX-1024 into the search engine of any of these major retailers. For Computer TV, I'm Albert.